Okay, welcome back. So, okay, we just looked at how we can actually play within our editor window. Often that's not necessarily what you want because a lot of things, there are quite a few limitations as to what you can do with that. I personally tend not to use this very much at all. So let's look at how we can set it up so that we can trigger it to run. And it tends to be, I find it the best way to do it, particularly if you're using so blueprints that do their own thing. They won't necessarily be run when you run it from the edit screen in here, rather than actually running it from within the game itself. So first thing I'm going to do is just go back to my default viewport, like so. And we need to find this little doodah right here, which is our sequence. Okay. So I think we actually already have a trigger volume over here that we're not using. We might even have a couple. Well, should I trust those or should I put something new up here? What we can do, in fact, maybe we'll do this. So let's go and just open up a level blueprint. Okay, nice. Didn't crash, that's always good. And what have we got going on in here at the moment? So we've got that array stuff we did previously. Cool. We've got begin play here, so this is without triggers and stuff. So we'll leave those running. But what we'll probably do, I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to hit C and just give this begin play. It's always nice to kind of know where these things are. I tend to give begin play a red color by default. You can work out your own kind of system, I guess, for that. And what we're going to do is just find a nice blank space here somewhere, and I'm going to create a reference to my sequence master. Now I could also, so I can add an event or call a function. Let's look at what we've got here. Sequencer, player, bindings. What have we got here? So add binding. Okay, so these are all things we're not gonna. What we want is a play. What you'd think it would give us play by default, but not really. So get sequence. Okay, no. Okay, so let's just create a reference. So this is our sequence master, and actually let's just quickly go into here and have a look at what information we've got in our sequence master. So we've got a lot of the same stuff. So this is an actor, so we have a transform. General, we actually have our shoot sequence master right here. So we are referring to this to a file in our game. So we could change this if we wanted to. Let's just go and have a look at it in the content browser. And this is where it is. So if you remember, we created our sequences folder. This is the shoot sequence master right here. That's the one we're looking at. And you should see we've got under here, we've got shots. And then under there we have this. This is the way that it does its shots by default. You'll notice with the star here that none of those are saved. So I'm going to hit Control Shift and S. And that's going to save them all because I don't want to crash. Oh, hello. Now, let's have a look up here. File, save all. Control Shift S saves all unsaved levels and assets to disk. Why is this not working as it should? And we know it's not working as it should because this still says it's unsaved. So Control Shift S, everything should save, but it doesn't. Anyway, that's an epic issue. Anyway, is it all saved? Is that saved? Control Shift S. So if just get rid of that. If this is interesting, it's docked down here now. If this is closed and we want to open it up, all I need to do, well, a couple of ways to do it, but one is just to come into here, double click on here, and then that opens it up for us. So that's the main one. So we can change that if we want to. We've got some things autoplay, so it's probably going to be the easiest way if we hit that. And then we start our level. Okay, so that was our first shot. This is our second shot. Third shot. It's pretty exciting stuff. So this is obviously one way we can do it. May not be the way you want to do it. Okay, and there we are back in our level. Let me close this for a sec because I really I like to have this nice open view. So we can autoplay, that's one way to do it. We can loop it if we want to. So if you're just testing things out, you could just do that. We're going to look at how to do it in code as well, so because we probably want to do that as well. We can change the play rate. Start offset. Now that can be really useful. Just come back into here again. So sometimes these things get really long. And just say, you want to start, you don't want to start at the beginning. You've been working on this one, you've spent a lot of time, it's all great, and you're happy with that. Now you're working on, say, the third one. So you actually want to start at time 10. So we can do that. So start offset, and now remember, this is in seconds. And don't forget, so you'll need to come in and have a look, show time as seconds. I tend to have it on seconds as default. It's usually the useful one. There are sometimes you do want to check frames, but seconds is usually where you want it. So we can say, yeah, I start offset 10 seconds, and then oh, you got a random start time. That's new. Haven't seen it before. Restore state, pause and end. So now let's just close this. Now if we hit play, we are starting at 10 seconds instead of, well, where are we starting at 10 seconds? That actually didn't look correct to me. Hang on. Let's just go and check. Ooh. Has to be moved. If you'd like to add force at location. Where the hell did this come from? Okay, that's interesting. We'll ignore that for now. We'll work out where that came from in just a second, I imagine. So we don't want that to be movable. Now, let's just go into here. And 10 seconds. Did we change? I don't remember. I don't recall coming in and changing this, but let's go and change the camera. So I've showed you how to change the camera, obviously by tracking the camera like so. We did that earlier on. We can actually just move it as we move any other object, and you can see it in here. So if you want to do it that way. And you can see as well at the moment, if I try and move it just forward, it's not going to work. Anyone want to guess why that is and how we can fix it? It's because it's set to world coordinates, of course. You all knew that. So I can change that up here, world coordinates to local coordinates, the little globe thing here, bang, and now we can just move it straight forward along the track, basically along a straight line in front of the camera. So I'm just going to do that so we kind of maybe go, I don't know, what do I look at? If I hit E, I can now change the rotation. Go back to W. All right. Now I know what it is. So that is fine. Just maybe save that. So now we should get that when we start. Let's close this. Actually, let's click off there so we don't have that. Okay. So now that is starting at that particular shot, which is fine. That's exactly what we want. Okay. So there are these settings in here we can use if you want to do those. Let's just come back to our level sequence. Sorry, yeah, our level sequence. And I can just drag off here. And if I just go play, I can get play and then sequence player. So this will actually play my sequence. So let's just do a custom event and we'll call that, okay, so let's just call it start my sequence, hit play, and we will call that after this one. So start my sequence, like so. And let's compile that, no problem. Come back here, turn off autoplay so that doesn't impact anything. Oh, that's interesting. It's gone to minutes. Let's just reset that. I don't want that to impact anything either. So now if we hit play, we should have the same thing, but now we're causing it to happen ourselves in our code. So that's cool. That's what we want. Let's just go to here again and like so. So a couple of things here I just want to look at. Play. Where are we? Set play. So we can do things like we can set play range or set playback position. So you know how we said previously we can we could say start at 10 seconds we did before. We can do the same thing here in code, which is something which again is really useful to do. So let's just grab the sequence player. Set playback position. So we could do one of these, like so. Playback parameters. Okay, so that's interesting. So we've got playback parameters there, which we would need to put in there. We can look at what they are. That will be, so let's just promote to variable, I think. Playback parameters, fine. Can we now go and break those? Okay, so we've got frame, so that'll be the start frame and the time. We've also got a marked frame, position type, update method, etc., etc. So we can put those in if we want to. So we can set those to change where we actually start this as well. Okay. So I'm not, so we could do this. Let me just compile that. So we can do that manually here if we want to. Playback parameters. So we've got frame. That's interesting. Okay, so we can change it. So we can time. This is all kind of new. This is an update. So we can have our time, if we do the same thing, 10 seconds. And so you notice we're going from the same object here. We're updating that. So we now should start at 10 seconds with our playback, with our parameters. So save. And there we go. So we've done the same thing as we did before. So just different ways of doing the same thing. Cool. We'll pause there and we'll come back and we'll keep going.